So you brought a guest with you, right? And can you introduce him and maybe introduce Dr. Juan and take it from there?
Sure. So I'm excited to introduce Dr. Juan, who is the founder of Perfect Life Nutrition. And the products that they offer are Pnuff, which are healthy plant-based snacks for all. And I'm not sure if I'm doing a good enough job of introducing him, but I want him to be able to do that. But what I should say is that he is also a very proud Rutgers alum. He has a great story, and very much like what we hear often at Rutgers, people who work hard and have become entrepreneurs and become very successful. And he's had some very exciting things happen. I did want to note, because we were having a conversation at Rutgers the other day, and someone said, yes, and one thing we always remember about Dr. Juan is that he participated in a business plan competition on campus, which I think was one of the first big moments for him related to Rutgers, and he's had many good things happen after that. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Juan and welcome. I'm so glad you were able to join us as well on the show, and we'd love to hear more about your story.
As Pavita mentioned, I'm a proud Rutgers alumni. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I have 3 degrees and I'm working on my 4th degree already from Rutgers University. And I owe Rutgers basically every success that I've had so far. So I'd like to introduce my company. Pavita mentioned the name of the company is Perfect Life Nutrition. The product that we make is branded Pnuff Crunch. It's a baked peanut puff, and it's the first peanut puff that is actually made from navy beans, brown rice, and peanuts. As opposed to most snacks that are made from corn, our products are based with navy beans, which are way more nutritious. And what's cool about this combination, which is a proprietary blend that I came up with, is that it actually combines the different proteins from these plants, and it makes it a complete plant-based protein, which is very unlikely to find on not just snacks, but in food that is made from plants anywhere. And what it does is it actually has the effect that it's supposed to have on muscle building, muscle recovery. So it's actually really good for people who are active. I think, Chris, you probably appreciate this since you're a professional baseball player. I did a lot of work with athletes in some of my past companies. I used to work for Power Bar. So I learned a lot about the nutrition needs of athletes. But one of the problems in developing products for these companies was that it was always geared towards the athlete. So, the requirements of the nutritional requirements of an athlete are very different from the regular person that is active, maybe a mom that plays with the kids, or any of us that goes to the gym on the weekends and things like that. Yet they're being marketed, to the mainstream. And it always bothered me that, people were having these really high sugary bars, thinking that they're good for them because they see an athlete eat it. Well, it might be good for the athlete because their requirements are so much higher than us for energy.
Or they're making money promoting the bar.
Right.
That could be possible.
Right. But for us, it's just sugar that is going to turn into fat. So this is why I came up with this product. It's really geared towards the mainstream consumer, but it provides a benefit that is beyond just being a healthy snack. It's actually a nutritious snack. It provides really good, healthy carbohydrates, fiber, and protein, all from plants.
Well, I went on your website, Juan, and they look really good, and they only have 130 calories per pack. So it looks like it could be a decent diet food too, if you can use it as a protein. So I definitely am going to order some of these. But you were on Shark Tank. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in Shark Tank in October of last year. That's when the show aired. We had actually applied to Shark Tank about 2 years prior. It wasn't until last year that we got a call from the producer and asking if we're interested in participating in the Shark Tank. And I was like, of course, hell yeah. They thought that the product was very interesting and very unique. apparently we were selected, among thousands of other food products that were submitted. One of the cool things and stories that you don't see on the show itself, if you see it, is that the sharks, once you enter the Shark Tank, it's a mess in there. It's not like how they present it on TV. Everybody's talking, and everybody really wants to figure out whether the company that they're talking to is good, as a good investment. And Mark Cuban, is one of those guys that just kind of sits back. I don't know if you noticed that in the show, but he sits back and he just observes, and he kind of takes a lot of information from what everybody else is asking. But there's something going on in his head, and I feel like he knew what he wanted. Actually, his wife had actually tried my product before, and he had tried it and he loved it. So after 20 minutes of all the other sharks kind of discussing and asking me questions, he just came out and said, "Hey, I tried your product before. We love it. I would like to make you an offer."
Wow.
So we did a little back and forth, but I secured $400,000 as an investment from him. And now we're working with his team.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And the
Yeah.
exposure that you get on Shark Tank is worth more than the $400,000, right? Because those
Yeah.
shows, they play over and over and over again. And so,
Well, just the first week when the air showed, I think we increased our sales by almost 1,000%. We had more than 10,000 purchases within 2 days.
Right.
All going through a website and Amazon.
sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any questions?
No, I was super interesting. I like the part about the Shark Tank. Can I ask Pavita a question in relationship to
Sure.
Juan, Dr. Juan? So Pavita, at Rutgers, working with Juan and other entrepreneurs, do you ever get involved with investors who are interested in getting on the ground floor of a startup business or a new invention or an existing business with new products and inventions that come along?
Absolutely. So we interact with investors in the New Jersey community. There are so many great people out here who are interested in at different stages. So sometimes we have investors who are interested in very early stage product development in the research side. And we have others who are angel investors who might be interested in more of tech startups or maybe digital health. And then we have investors who are looking for companies that are going concerns, generating revenue, and have already got some traction and working their way up. So we reach out to a lot of companies ourselves as well. And Juan was one of the ones that we did find. We were hearing news about his successes, and we reached out to him. And we also have a secret weapon who I like to talk about. My colleague, her name is Kara, and she is our corporate intelligence person. And so she watches for stories about alumni at companies, startups that are raising funding, filing for IPOs, launching new products, and doing exciting things. And we often reach out to them. And so some of those are further along. And when we talk about alumni, obviously we support students and faculty as well. But when we talk about alumni, some of them are much further along and being very successful. And some of them are ready to give back as well. And others are still building and growing their business. And for them, we try to make connections to several places. And Dr. Juan is an example. We had, we were able to connect him to our Food Innovation Center. He was looking to connect to buyers, and Dr. Juan, I'm making a plug for you. We're looking for buyers in the retail space that are interested in his products. And then also connecting him back to students who might be interested in working with this company. But with investors, we have them at all different stages. And so we can connect alumni to investors in the community based on their stage of business and their areas of interest.
Kenya,
Dr.
do you
Juan.
have any questions?
Well, I just wanted to say, kudos to Dr. Juan about your product. I'm a fitness coach, and I teach a lot of cycling and do a lot of stuff. And it's hard for me to find products that are friendly to, helping me manage my blood sugar. And so, I'd love to sort of learn more about what you're doing in that regard. And then Pavita, I just had a question about, are there any particular industries that you're seeing any exponential growth in terms of some of the innovation that's coming along the pipeline at Rutgers?
Well, so obviously with COVID hitting, there were many new things being developed, and everything from testing to therapies to, we were running actually the vaccine trials for Johnson & Johnson. A big chunk of those were run at Rutgers. And then, of course, technologies that will be developed to try and adapt to our new lifestyle, the new normal, as people say. And then the future of things like smart cities, 5G, non-traditional vehicles. Those are all things that are hot right now. And of course, food products. Dr. Juan is one example. We highlighted an entrepreneur on our new website, Lou Cooper House, who runs a new startup called Blue Nalu, and they are developing cell-based seafood in San Diego, and they've got a great story too. So there are lots of different examples of the trends as well as what comes about as a result of our current state of the world.
That's great. I've got another question for Dr. Juan, and that is, do you test your water before you put it in your product?
But it sounds like you and Chris, though, have some synergies together. So I just heard Chris say he'd help get you on some platforms. So Chris, what is that going to look like for Juan? So Juan, what do you need too?
Actually, Chris is funny because I'm a scientist too. I have a PhD in food science, and I remember in the lab, I'm a mass spectrometrist. Actually, that's how.
Okay, yeah.
That was. I did all my research.
You and I have plenty to talk about
on mass spectrometry and HPLC, and I remember, one of my friend's students, she was doing analysis on water over at New Jersey. And I think her dissertation, she concluded that the water in New Jersey was just an excellent water, and it was better than any other state. So I always wanted to find out whether it was.
So that's great. It's been a fantastic segment. Unfortunately, we have to take a break, and we'll be right back with more Passage to Profit right after this.
So find these products at pnuff.com, and do go find them and try them.
Right.
Amazon as well.
We'll be right back after this.